So excited to be with Elizabeth Tuazon today. She is an amazing coach, an award-winning pole dancer, a brilliant musician. She is so many badass things. And I was lucky enough to work with her for 3 years in the mastermind program. She and the cohort joined, and we just kept going and going and going. It was very fun. So, Elizabeth, welcome. Thank you for being here with me to talk about your experience.
Yeah, thank you, Megan. What a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me to be here.
Of course. And what else do you want our viewers to know, if anything, about your, amazing array of talents?
It's a big, long journey, one step at a time. Life is so big. No matter how I describe my life right now in this moment, like surely in a year, in who knows, if I would have said that this is going to be my life now, like even like 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, no way would I have guessed that. So I'm like I could talk about the adventures for some time, but I'm just happy to be on them, really.
Yeah, you're on a journey like so many of us entrepreneurs are, just making our way in the world. And you were in the mastermind, like I mentioned, for 3 years. What inspired you to stay with our group for such a long time?
The support was incredible. It was, yeah, I don't know what I would have done. There's no like replacement that I can think of that would have given me the kind of support that I needed when I was um, like in the land of like this coaching business that I had started. And when I say the support, I mean like just the structures that you created, Megan, and that we like empowered or like had breakdowns about, and the ways that the members, every member of the mastermind really um, like the ways that we connected, I really had a sense like these are allies. These are people who are on my team. They're on my side, and I want them to know that I'm on their side. Um, and a lot of it was like you could think of it as like emotional support. So much of like emotional, mental, and like literally just even the access to creativity, hearing ideas from someone who's in a totally different field, but having them make sense to me. I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. That so there's I don't even know if I've answered your question at this point, but it was so valuable. It was so valuable, and the value for me was really in how much support I got from the group.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really sweet. Your cohort was just all the cohorts are wonderful in their own ways, and your cohort was really wonderful. People from all different industries supporting each other,
Mm-hmm.
following each other's journeys, celebrating each other, rooting each other on, challenging each other. It's pretty amazing how people from various walks of life can see each other's blind spots. I think one thing people
Mm.
sometimes worry about is, oh, well, what about a mastermind group where everybody's in the same industry? I think there are pros to that. And can you speak a little bit to what the benefits were of being in a group with
Mm.
people from different areas?
Yeah, well, I mean, to your point, it was really cool. There were like maybe half the people had either were either in the coaching industry or had been or had we've had contact with it, so like we have some shared background of context, some language, but that's the thing too, is like when you rely on that, when you're in a group, in a room, you're in a bubble, then like how are you making sure that you're actually reaching people outside your bubble? And that was one thing that was really valuable, is hearing perspectives, like from people saying like, yeah, that doesn't, I wouldn't click on that, like like um and hearing ideas from them, or like, oh, here's what I've found in my industry, so maybe it doesn't translate exactly, but maybe there's something in what I found that works here for me that can translate to your work. And actually you'd be surprised even like how many, well, you're not surprised, but I would have been surprised about how the, I don't know, like the different, um you'd think that creating, selling, and marketing a physical object could be so different from creating, marketing, and selling a service in a service, in a service relationship. And and I was surprised to find out how actually similar those things were, and how the ways that we were each thinking about how can I best do that? How can I bring the best of what is here in like my heart, my soul, my spirit to the world? There's a lot of overlap across industries.
A lot.
Is what I found.
A lot. Everybody's got to market, everybody's got to find their brand, everybody needs to maintain relationships with customers. It really does have a lot of crossover. So I love having gotten to watch so many people about different industries get together and avoid groupthink too. Because sometimes when
Mm-hmm.
everybody's thinking the same or speaking the same language, it's like maybe as a coach I say something and the photographer's like, what does that even mean? And you're like, oh yeah, I need to make this like language that's more clear, that doesn't have jargon, and you have people to run that by.
Yep, exactly so. Yeah.
What were some of your proudest accomplishments during the mastermind?
Hmm. Hmm. Gosh. Well, I'm thinking back to when I had this idea. Like the big picture is like turning an idea or turning like some kind of vague feeling or urge into something that that I could like bring into being and share with other people. That was like even just like having the group to kind of walk with me along that journey,
Mm.
and like having actually offered like a coaching and movement workshop, and like not just a workshop but like a series of them, like several of them that were I mean they were really satisfying for me personally. And then I just got such consistently good feedback from the people that attended them. And like there were, yeah, like I might not have followed that nudge, if like the people in my mastermind hadn't said like, hey, what about that? What about
Mm.
that thing that you keep, like
Doing that's helping people that you
imagining?
love.
Yeah, what about, and like what's that about you not actually doing it yet? Like what are you waiting for? And having the encouragement to do it. And like it's a series of workshops. Like I haven't offered the workshops in quite that way for some time, but the like the fact that I did that, and that just having created so much meaning out of that. And also like it's it's still something that I see for myself, and it's still showing up in different ways, like that little nudge of like there's something here for you. There's something here for you. And what would you like to make of it? So like, yeah, creating that workshop series is one of my proudest moments. And
Mm.
actually, if I can say another one,
Yeah.
this is this is scary. Oh,
Oh.
this is vulnerable. It was actually like um realizing that, and like I don't even know. This is obviously unscripted. Um, realizing like that the way that I had structured my business financially was not sustainable, and that I was going to need to make some serious moves like now,
Mm.
and like it was a really scary moment. Like I'm still like,
Yeah.
it is so important.
Yeah.
It was so important. I don't know, I don't even know who I would have been, if I hadn't had that experience. But the the point of like approaching something so scary, like oh my gosh, the like I don't have a foundation to stand on right now.
Mm.
Like I need to change how I'm doing things, and knowing that I have people here who are still on my side,
Mm.
who still believe in me, even if I like, oh, okay, the way that I've structured my business hasn't worked.
Yeah.
But having people who are my allies, who are walking with me in like figuring out what the heck am I gonna do now,
Mm.
and like loving me all the way through, was a really, I mean, not the accomplishment that I would have expected from a mastermind, but like it really was, I don't know if I'd call it specifically an achievement, but it was a really important moment in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. I feel so tender hearing your story
I
because
know.
it's like, yeah, yeah, because it's like I think that's one of the beautiful things about having this group of people that's on your side and getting in and really intimately looking at all parts of our business. Like, what am I doing that's working? What's not working? Are my finances really working? And then having to be with the reality because as entrepreneurs, it's so close to us. Like, we've poured ourselves into creating things and we've poured money and time. And so to look at the business objectively and have to make those tough decisions and have people to stand by us, like, I don't know how I don't know how people do it without a team. I don't. And it was like,
Yeah.
I mean, you're so easy to love, and it was like such a joy to love you through that. And you like let us support you through that too, which I think is so huge because some
Yeah.
people like when they realize something's not working, they go and they try to do it by themselves. And I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
this is something that, your energy around it, you were just like, yes, there's a challenge. Like, I'm open to being supported. Like, it was a gift for all of us to get to do that.
It's really cool to hear you say that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Does it surprise you?
Um, I guess a little. I hadn't thought of it in quite that way, but I mean, it aligns with some of like the really core beliefs that I'm moving toward in my life. Like
Mhm.
is that that I get to be like I'm a gift whenever I show up, however I show up,
Yes.
um, and like I contribute anywhere wherever I am.
Hmm. Yeah, you totally do. And for those of you watching, you can't tell, but Elizabeth is like a fucking goddess. Like she like walks into a room and she's like someone who's worked on her soul and her body through pole dancing, her soul through like lots of different ways, not just pole dancing. But
Mhm.
like, she carries herself in this beautiful way and it is a gift to be in her presence. So like, Elizabeth is like, oh, I need support with this thing in my business that's not working. And you just believe in her so much that you're like, well, duh, this is all going to work out just fine. And we get that, like, we get that this is a challenge and scary right now. So, and it has, like, you've pivoted, which is key to entrepreneurship and also key
Yeah,
to why we need a team. Like, you've pivoted, you've made changes, and like, you're doing really meaningful work in the world. So,
yeah.
what's not to love and celebrate?
Thanks.
For people wondering, because there's lots of different programs, business masterminds. Obviously, what's key to this one is that I lead it. What's it like to work with me?
Oh my gosh. Um, that's a big question. Like, well, because you're such a big person with such a big heart and such big ears, and so I mean that figuratively, but
Yeah.
like, um, you know, some of the, you know, for anyone anyone watching, Megan was my first coach that I ever even heard about what coaching is, and the
Mm.
first coach that I hired for, for anything that wasn't like a specific, like it's just, for my life. Okay, what could this be like? And so some of what I currently understand and know and believe about like best practices of coaching, like Megan, you embody them,
Mm.
and that to me is like you listen so carefully, so attentively, like with your whole being, with your whole presence, and you are, and like when I say listen, that, but even that word is so complex. Like you're listening with a sense of like really being with
Mm.
someone. You're listening with a sense of like it's curiosity, and like that comes out too in how you ask questions, like, you know, what's what's needed from here, what you're asking sometimes yourself, and sometimes, and it's always like in relationship, like what is going to be the best way to serve, what's the best way that I can serve you. And I like really consistently heard you, sometimes literally explicitly verbally asking that question, like,
Yeah.
how can I serve you?
Mhm.
And you were so clear about that. And um yeah, so that's one thing. That's
Mhm.
only one thing, but it's a really, really important one.
Yeah, I feel honored to hear you say that. Um,
Mm,
Especially because we did have such a long relationship. And like you see people at their strengths, you see people when they're not as strong, like over the course of a long relationship. And that is really important to me, really hearing people really staying dynamic, really being
mhm.
responsive. And like, because people's needs change, their businesses change, their income changes, like everything changes. And so if we're not able to really listen, not make assumptions about who people are, where they're headed. Like that's where the
Yeah,
richness comes from.
yeah, yeah. If I was gonna sum it up in a single point, that I think this is the one. Yeah.
Mm. And some people watching this might even be considering joining the next mastermind. How would
Good.
someone know if it good? Right. How would someone know if the program is right for them? What are the questions they should ask themselves?
Hmm. I mean, some of the questions that at least I asked myself is like, because I had always assumed or imagined previous to masterminding that like solopreneurship means like you're by your freaking self.
Mm.
So like, are you open to like being supported by other people who might not think the same way as you? Are you open to like doing this like really important life work project, whatever you're doing, in community with others, like with others' input and challenges, and um, like that's probably the first question. Um, mhm. And maybe another thing, and this gets clearer too, and it also changes to your point, Megan.
Yeah.
But like, like if you are at a point where you've even discerned what it is that you need or you think you need, like what kind of support you think you need, um, like that's something that you can first of all like bring to other people, but also like if you're open to being contributed to by others, then you can get a wealth of way more ideas than you even had, even if you're the most creative person ever. It's just like multiplying your brain
Which
times
Elizabeth might actually be
many.
the most creative person ever. So
Not yet proven, but we're yeah, yeah. So I still do a lot of projects by myself, and or like I have parts of projects I do by myself. Um, but and I find a lot of support and joy from the connection of at least, even if like even if I was like, okay, ABC suggestions, those are not for me, but you know what, I really appreciate that these people are with me on the journey, like that. You're gonna have times like that too. You're like, you know what, I don't want to listen to you guys. But even having someone to be with you in the middle of that like reactivity, and still be on your side and on your team, and like they're not gonna, you're not gonna get kicked off the island, like that's
Yeah.
not a thing. So it's a safe place to grow.
Mm.
So that's another question too, is like, um, is this a place and a time and a way that I am aiming my growth toward?
Mm.
That's kind of a weird way of saying that, but hopefully it makes sense.
Yeah, it's like Am I ready to grow? Am I willing to grow?
Mm-hmm.
Do I feel in my gut that this would support me in my growth, and being supported so intimately would support me in my growth?
Yes.
Yeah, I love those questions. Thank you. And, you, like I said, being with Elizabeth is like magical, and it's magical whether you're online or in person. So, if people want to find out about the workshops that you're teaching and the things that you're up to, how can they do that?
Yes. So if you were to follow my page, my Facebook page, or Instagram, both of those places. I'm on Instagram at Wonderplay Coaching, and I'm on Facebook at Wonderplay. And others of the the that's the brand that I really cultivated in the mastermind.
Mhm.
And some of the other work that I do now is through the Right Foundation, and you can find more about their stuff at rightfoundation.org, or you can just reach out to me and I can. It's a lot of stuff, so happy to parse through what all of it is and like see what might be there for you.
Amazing. Elizabeth, thank you so much for your wisdom, for your presence, for spending so much time with me, like getting years of delight and
Yay.
memories. So, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Megan.